which was originally a working title, Putting the We Back in the Web and Other Road Tales from the Information Highway. Now this title came directly, I plagiarized, it came directly from this article that came out in Newsweek. The article came out, and another one came out in Time just about a week later. This one is called Next Frontiers, the New Wisdom of the Web, and the other one was called The Multitasking Generation. And they came out one right after the other. That, combined with a few other things, led me to this presentation. And then I asked Karen to join me, one of which was after AJL last June, I went to the National Educational Computing Conference in Philadelphia with a bunch of colleagues from school. And I'm from the AVI High School in Montreal. And I heard an address by David Weinberger, in which he, who's at Harvard, and he spoke about collaborative communities, and he talked about gatekeepers and enablers, and he characterized the gatekeepers, and he described them as the typical librarians, the Nancy Proulx librarians. And I got very, very annoyed at that. I was very angry after his talk. And so that happened, and then I was talking with students at school who were inevitably using Wikipedia quite often on the computers in the library. And they said, oh, yeah, we're not supposed to use this. Our teacher said you don't want us to use Wikipedia. And I started to think about things a little bit differently, especially after all these articles started to appear about collaborative communities and social networking online and what wikis are. And I thought, you know, we should really talk about this a little bit at the AVI High sessions, because I think that our librarians, especially high school librarians, which most of us are, need to learn more about what's going on here and what the challenges are using and being involved in these innovations, which really come down to Web 2.0. And the presentation hopefully will enable our AVI High librarians, and all the rest of you are more than welcome, who are working directly with kids in high schools to learn more about the innovations that are occurring on Web 2. Now, in my school, okay, this is what's going on more or less in my library at the AVI High School today, okay? These kids are known as the millennials, or digital kids, okay? And as you see, they all have cell phones. Two of them are plugged into one iPod. They're working on, they've got a laptop in front of them, okay? And my collection, as you see, is sorely neglected around them. Now, what are they doing? Well, probably they're doing something like this. They're probably working on MySpace, which Adele referred to today. You made a little phone. You called it MySpace.com, which put together, you know, Facebook and MySpace. Today. Okay. Why?
Because one of the kids was using drugs, and he threatened with the officer, and he was a kid, and they both killed him and get drugs, and they found him through my
Okay. So this is what's going on in our library. And I heard a number of people talk about the fact that cell phones aren't allowed in their schools, except, you know, before school, after school, during lunch, outside. But the reality is that the digital kids are using every possible electronic device that they have. They're using it to its utmost capacity, and they expect to find information on those devices, any and all of those devices. And I think, you know, it challenges us to meet them where they are, because this is where they are. All right? So that's what's going on here. And on MySpace, well, I think, you know, are we to be the gatekeepers blocking the path, or are we going to be the enablers? That's really what we want to talk about tonight. So what we're going to do is give an overview. Karen's going to give an overview of Web 2.0. She's going to talk about blogs and wikis and RSS, the social or collaborative web as we're coming to know it. And I'm going to talk about Wikipedia Wikipedia as a research tool. That is, talk a little bit about some lessons that I've been doing using Wikipedia in order to teach kids how to do better research. Okay, so I'm going to just turn it over to Karen. After this, we're going to open it up to discussion amongst all of us about best practices, what's going on in your libraries. And I think very important is Karen's developed a wiki for us, the Jewish High School Librarians Wiki, which she's going to show us at www.tvwiki.com. So, I'm going to turn it over to Karen. It kind of looks like this. Yes? No. We have
wiki shortly after this.
We have handouts. We've created a bibliography for my section, a bibliography for being traditional librarians.
Up afterwards, we're not going to be following along these handouts, so don't worry about them.
If you'd like them so you can doodle while we talk, we can hand them out now. And we also have one from Heidi Estrin about her podcast. So we wanted to be able to show you the podcast as well, but we just don't have enough time. But we do have a handout from her as well. So I'm turning you over to Karen. Yeah, just get rid of it. You can just...
All right, turning over to me. Let me just line up a moment.
Didn't we minimize it?
No. All right, I'm very much doing a introduction to some of the tools that kind of make up what is known somewhat as Web 2.0. There's no real set definition of Web 2.0. It's kind of a catch-all term for the read-write web, for the interactive web, for the web as a means of creation as well as reception of information. And it's really how our students see the information around them. They are not just sucking it off the screen. They're putting it up there. They're uploading videos to sites like YouTube, putting their pictures on Flickr, communicating with friends on MySpace, going to Wikipedia for various information, whether it's the right spot for what they're looking for at the moment or not. They are putting up podcasts of their own radio shows and their own songs, and they are making videos and putting them up on the internet, finding clips, mashing together things they're finding on the internet. They are doing as much as they are taking in from the internet. So there's some of the things that are important about what we talk about when we say Web 2.0 is that it is the read-write web. It is both taking in content and putting content on it. It's user-focused and user-driven. You'll see a lot of sites that are created collaboratively, that depend on what the user puts up to create it to exist at all. It's a concept, not a defined set of applications. When we talk about wikis and blogs and RSS, they're all part of it, but they don't define it. It's something that's just at its beginning stages. Where it's going to go is anybody's guess. I don't know how many of you are science fiction readers, but those virtual worlds where we have avatars and we walk around, with little headsets on and we're living in, in physical space and in virtual space at the same time is probably coming down, it's coming down the wire. I don't know if it'll be in my lifetime or not, but it's probably where we're moving towards, but nobody really knows. It's interaction and engagement, and it's beyond. When we see the kids staring at the computer, you think, oh, they're so isolated. They're not now. They are finding communities that move beyond what is the physical. Their best friends may be, halfway across the country, maybe in another country. They have these conceptions of community that goes far beyond what is physically around them now. It's new ways of communicating, personally and professionally. I use a lot of this stuff for professional reading and professional development, which I'm going to show a couple of examples of. It's the way I keep up with a lot of what's most cutting edge, because a lot of the most cutting edge information on education technology and stuff is being put up by people on blogs, on wikis, because the people who are on the most cutting edge of it are using those forms themselves.